know, the new guy's immigration plan is hitting more than just one wall right now.
Yeah.
A federal judge just blocked him from cutting off funds to sanctuary cities that harbor undocumented immigrants, saying it would cause those cities immediate, irreparable harm. Now, of course, a Twitter rant followed where, you know, who said, "See you in the Supreme Court." So, I mean, does what the judge is saying make sense?
Well,
yes,
to do?
it does.
Trump doesn't seem to want any blowback. So you have, you know, the legislative branch and the executive branch are all Republican. The only thing that you can rely on to give you some kind of blowback is the judiciary. And then when they say no, he gets into a hissy fit like that. "I'll see you in the Supreme Court," you know, the big threat. And that's, he thinks it's a dictatorship, this guy.
He does. He doesn't understand the separation of powers.
Yes.
And we have that for a reason. We want that constitutional balance, and we certainly want a checks and balances on the president. And that's why there's that separation.
Right.
But what's interesting in the Twitter rant, he says the Ninth Circuit. This judge is not on the Ninth Circuit. This judge is a federal judge in San Francisco. So if he loses,
Where's the Ninth Circuit?
I mean, the Ninth Circuit covers several states, and California is one of those states. So if he wants to appeal it, he can appeal it to the Ninth Circuit. But how could he not understand that the judge is not even
Do we need to even ask that?
I think he took the talking point, because people often talk about the Ninth Circuit as being an activist court and more of a liberal court in terms of their rulings. So I think he ran with a talking point that unfortunately did not apply accurately in this case. That's so
Precision is not his strong suit.
But I do have a hard time. I think he is right on the issue of sanctuary cities. I've always struggled with the concept of sanctuary cities myself because they violate federal law. The United States law, U.S. law requires these jurisdictions to notify ICE, to notify the federal government if you have undocumented immigrants living in your region. And these cities essentially say, we're not going to uphold federal law. We're going to reserve our right to do that. And I don't understand how cities, how jurisdictions can selectively decide which laws they like. For example, if a city in Texas or the state of Texas decided they didn't like gay marriage rulings or they didn't like Roe versus Wade, people would be up in arms saying, this place doesn't have the right to override federal law. And I would be as well.
That's what they've done. Listen, when you say states' rights, you know, this is states' rights. Listen, the states, our state says, well, so is, you know, marijuana laws is federal law. States say, listen, we think it's okay, and we're going to go with this. I believe very strongly.
That's not actually accurate in terms of the federal law
Go
that
ahead.
you're citing.
No. Do you think? Because it's important.
It's very in the weeds, so I don't want to get too in the weeds.
Well,
but
don't get in the weeds. Just tell the point.
It's just not accurate to say that these sanctuary. First of all, there aren't any designated sanctuary cities, and that's one of the problems with trying to say that they're not following a federal law, because there is no necessarily federal law that says these particular cities have to do it. But the problem that I also have with Republicans and conservatives is that they always want limited government, yet they don't have a problem with using the arm of the federal government to somehow squash states' rights. I mean, and that's...
But I think what Jed was saying, which is the part I agree with, is the part I take issue with in regard to sanctuary cities, and this is one case that was really famous in 2015. There was an undocumented immigrant who shot a girl. Now, this was a gentleman who who had been deported 5 times. He had 7 felonies. He was on probation from Texas and fled to San Francisco knowing he'd be protected. I think everyone can agree when it comes to people that are I mean, this is a 5-time felon.
Right, he shouldn't have been
He should not be in this.
But then the federal government can get involved, because ICE are federal government agents. What the federal government wants these states to do is to employ state resources. That is not the business of the state.
I'm not saying what Trump has done is constitutional. I'm saying that I think something has to be tightened up here. We should never have these criminals here.
But here's the thing. If you cut funding to the people who are supposed to be watching out, if you cut funding to the folks whose job it is to say, listen, this guy's been out 5 times, we got to grab him. If you cut all that, if you cut all of the things that we've put in place to grab somebody, and you know, there's a lot of things that go wrong, but I don't think you can name more than maybe, and I mean no disrespect, but you can name 5 times in the 25, 30 years of people going, because people try to follow the law. People try to keep felons out. They try to do it. But if people are coming in and their name is not on a thing and you're not taking care of that, I mean, there's stuff in place we could be doing
Well,
that we're not doing.
the federal officials had asked to be notified if this guy was flagged, and the local officials.
But
Because that's the job of the federal government,
Yes.
not
Right,
of the
but
state.
I'm saying at that point, when it comes to criminals, I feel like it takes a village. There, I'm not saying the way Trump is doing it,
No,
but
no,
there's
it's
got to
not-
be a
forget
tightening
Trump.
of someone's flagged here, and you should be saying we're all in this together when it comes to
Yes.
breaking the law.
Yes, you have to do it, but you have to have the people in place to do it.
But also,
It's the federal agents,
Also,
not
though,
the state.
But when you talk about states' rights, the primary job of the federal government, in my view, is national security. That is their primary job. So when people are fighting about states' rights issue, oftentimes they're fighting for things that they believe the federal government has overtaken authority that was reserved constitutionally to the states. Here, we're talking about an issue of immigration and national security. The federal government should be involved. ICE should be involved. And if you have a jurisdiction that's saying, we're not going to cooperate with immigration and
Not that
customs
they don't-
enforcement.
They're saying that they're not going to become federal agents,
Yes.
Jed.
Right,
That's
but
what
they're
they're
Are
also
they
saying.
going to
And they-
communicate?
no,
Are they
but-
going to
but
report
wait a
these
minute, wait a
people to
minute, wait a
ICE and
minute.
say these are undocumented?
I do
Is that what
believe.
happens?
They don't have to
I
do
do
that.
believe
That's crazy.
that
Yeah, I agree.
people, when the laws are in place, if there is a criminal, there is nothing saying that New York can't take care of that. That they're not going to deport somebody and say, we've put this person out. You know, as I said the other day, Obama deported more illegal immigrants than any president.
He did, undocumented.
And than any president. Or undocumented word.
Yeah.
The words, it's like being black or Negro or
Yeah, you gotta
African American.
say it.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember the right word.
you know
Okay?
what? Look-
I'm going to say what I remember. Like, come on. You know?
It's sort of like the Underground Railroad in a way. It reminds me of, or the people in Germany who took in the Jews. It's like there are people who are really in trouble, who are going to be separated from their children. And so, you know, anyway, where's Melania going to go if we don't have any sanctuary cities?
You know.
I think that's a fair point, though. I think there are I think that's a fair point.
Yeah.
No one's talking about. I mean, there are families here that get broken up. There are good, hardworking people that came here, were undocumented, and are contributing to society. But we also have an issue of crime coming across. We also have an
but
issue
you know
of
what? I'm
women
sorry.
who are
We don't have an
assaulted and
issue
raped
of-
trying to get here.
And that's
Those
just like
things
Fox.
I don't want my local police officer trying to pretend to be
That was fun.
a federal immigration officer. I don't want. I don't want
and
that.
let's
That's
not
their
spread
job.
this thing that rapists and murderers are coming from other countries.
there are-
I just want to.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm
that's
saying
how
there
it
are
sounds.
So
women.
let me clear.
Yeah.
I'm trying to clear it up
Okay.
for you. I'm trying to help you.
That's not what's
I'm
up.
trying to help you. Because if that's what my ear heard, that's why I'm saying that's not what you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there are women who, in an effort to come here and find a better life, oftentimes find themselves in precarious situations where they are raped and they are assaulted in an effort to get to the United States
And so?
because they are
By whom?
because that's the argument to secure the border, to protect those people, to protect people.
that-
That
It is.
is-
Wait,
I think
that-
that's
wait,
an argument.
We'll